The terrifying last minutes of Natasha before Chimp ate her face. First perspective. The most unusual animals are chimpanzees, and intriguing creatures nearby because of their intelligence, but also because they are the nearest blood relatives we have. Humans and other animals share 98% of species of their genes compared to chimps. Is that why they share characteristics, qualities, even though interesting chimpanzees may be evil? That's something most people are aware of, unlike gorillas. Chimpanzees are extremely hostile to others, despite gorillas being more powerful. They typically don't show antagonism toward chimpanzees more than humans. Known chimpanzee assaults include chimpanzees in the wild and those that were pets. The majority of chimpanzee assaults involve pets. The primary suspects in this are chimpanzees. We selected the most terrifying videos and stories of chimpanzee attacks that will keep you up late. The first tale centers on a zookeeper, a woman by the name of Natasha. When she was younger, she spent hours in the neighborhood zoo, viewing the dreams of working one day and loving animals. When she got employed at age 22 as a zoo handler, she had experience with a range of animals over the years, although her preferred one was Walter, a 10-year-old chimpanzee. Walter was a zoo animal and was born there. Natasha has raised him by hand since his mother died at the age of due to an undisclosed illness. They had developed a unique bond even as infants. Over time, she frequently spent her breaks chatting with him. Walter was an amicable chimpanzee, always ready to have fun and talk to humans. The primary character at the zoo was Walter, attracting people with his amiable behavior toward people, which is strange for chimpanzees known to act violently toward others and pets. However, Walter wasn't involved with this. Natasha and other zoo employees had gotten smug, thinking Walter would not aggressively act out for as long as she was with him. One day, he was in Natasha's custody when something was altered because of Walter. Chaos ensued as he escaped from his confinement. Visitors thereafter fled in all directions as the chimp ransacked the zoo, throwing objects and attacking everything in his path. Natasha, who was present at the time, spotted Walter and attempted to comfort him. But Walter turned against her, ferociously attacking her. She never knew this before Walter yelled. He ran in Natasha's direction with abrasive force, attacking her despite being smaller than Natasha. He put her on the ground and attacked her violently, using his two hands to maul her. Walter snatched Natasha by the face, gnawing and ripping at her flesh. Natasha cried out in protest at this severe suffering, as did the other guests who stayed to record and document the incident. The terrible events were taking place in front of Natasha attempted to combat him, but Walter was too powerful and he kept attacking and biting her, inflicting significant pain in the thorax, arms, and shoulders. It was an injury to her face and head. She had a nightmare that lasted for long. Blood had now covered Natasha's torso. She persisted in shoving Walter away but kept getting continuously attacked by the animal, whose name she repeatedly called, attempting to make him understand who he was. However, it was ineffective. When that happened, the emergency response team arrived, immediately stopping the chimp while it was still in the zoo. Staff were able to remove Natasha from the animal and convince her to accept prompt medical assistance. She was taken to the hospital, where she spent several hours repairing the harm. It was a protracted and painful recuperation period, but she could eventually go back to work. However, she wasn't the same anymore. The attack had left physical and psychological wounds that never completely restored Natasha's life. But once joyful zoo will never be the same. Now the handler constantly feared. She used to enjoy the animals, but now she suffered from anxiety and depression. She was possessed by the attack's memory, but she was determined not to be defeated by it. She was determined to keep working at the zoo, to get over her fear, and take her love of animals back. As for Walter, he was quickly put to death. After the attack, things were challenging. It was the zoo's choice, but it was evident that it was impossible to believe the chimp. Nevertheless, despite her wounds, Natasha was devastated by her friend's passing. She realized how wild and untamed Walter had been, but she couldn't help but feel that she had somehow failed him. As the years passed, Natasha continued her employment at the zoo. She began to reclaim self-assurance around animals and rediscover their trust. But she never lost sight of Walter's lesson. Even the most amiable animal can be harmful in the appropriate conditions. Natasha's encounter was a startling warning on the dangers of working with animals. It serves as a reminder that there are no pets, regardless of how much we might love them. Never forget that they are not your pets. They are autonomous beings. We must always be respectful to them and exercise caution despite her suffering from trauma. Natasha persisted in believing in her. She persisted in her work with the animals for the rest of her life, putting her entire attention on their care. Her experience is a testament to the human spirit's resiliency and the strength of love and willpower to surmount even the most difficult obstacles. Second perspective. This horrifying story demonstrates how perverse chimpanzees exhibit greater aggression and aggressive actions toward people and other chimpanzees of various species. Animals had always been Valerie's passion, and after learning of a young chimpanzee who needed a home, she sprang at the opportunity to adopt her. She chose Chloe, and the two immediately created a strong bond. Chloe was intelligent and loving, and they enjoyed playing. Valerie was devoted to attending to all of her needs. Valerie resided in a peaceful section of Texas, where the majority of her neighbors knew Chloe. They were accustomed to seeing Chloe having fun in the backyard or sitting on Valerie's shoulder. One neighbor, Rhett, always had doubts about the choice Valerie made to keep a wild animal. He frequently made sarcastic remarks about Chloe as a pet. When he noticed Chloe outside, he even whispered beneath his breath on occasion, saying that it was just a matter of time before something negative happened. Valerie disregarded Rhett's remarks and concentrated on providing Chloe with the ideal existence. But when Chloe was outside playing one day, Rhett approached Valerie to discuss a small complaint about her yard. As Chloe and Valerie went back to talk to him, Rhett extended his hand and Chloe nibbled at Rhett's hand. Rhett immediately reacted by smacking Chloe, looking at Valerie's face. Chloe was frightened and only attempting to play, having no malicious intent. Everyone other than Rhett stormed in a rage, and he walked off without saying anything. The following day, Valerie received a call from the neighborhood animal control department. They had a report stating that Chloe had attacked Rhett, and they were on their way to take her away. Valerie was devastated, knowing that Chloe would be unhappy being imprisoned despite having done nothing wrong. But she was unable to change the situation. In the commotion that followed, Chloe, before anyone could stop her, became agitated and reacted by striking Rhett. Thrashing and screaming, she assaulted him, and the animal control officers were forced to intervene. Having lost control, she was removed from Rhett's body and was severely mauled. Rhett had severe abrasions, deep wounds, and injuries all over. In disbelief, Valerie looked over the scene. She had never seen Chloe act in such a manner before and was unsure of what to do. She was frozen as she waited, watching a chimpanzee attack on her favorite pet, traumatized by witnessing the event unfold in front of her. Fortunately, Rhett escaped the assault and spent several weeks healing in a hospital from his wounds. Valerie was in tears. Chloe was removed by animal control officers from her, and she had more justifications to hold the animal before deciding how to fight. With it, she realized she needed to take action to stop something similar from happening. So she started her quest, learning as much as she could about chimpanzees, their actions, and the danger of keeping and working with wild animals. She enlisted the help of professionals and even volunteered at a local wildlife refuge to find out more about taking care of these extraordinary animals. Slowly but surely, Valerie started to turn her tragedy into something good. She began an initiative to raise awareness of the risks associated with storing, keeping, and working with wild animals. She worked relentlessly to spread awareness and even push for animal rights, speaking out against the brutal treatment of captive animals. Years went by, but Valerie never lost the memory regarding the event involving Chloe and Rhett. However, she was adamant about creating a positive outcome, and she never gave up on her quest to safeguard animals and increase understanding of their requirements. In the end, Chloe was moved to a nature sanctuary, a haven where she could appreciate the tranquil setting, which she now lives alongside other chimpanzees that are allowed to roam and play as she wants. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.